You know, sometimes I remember F-Zero hasn't had a new game in 18 years, and that makes me feel like an old man. But then I remember the last new Super Mario Bros. Game is a year away from having come out a decade ago. And I hope that makes you feel as old as I used to feel. I feel so old now I can't even break wind without going into cardiac arrest.
If you ever want to sound really smart or try to pass yourself off as a Nintendo leaker, just say there will be a new Mario game announced soon. You'll always be right. Whether it's Mario Party, Mario Tennis, Mario Sports, Mario Luigi,
Mario and Luigi Mario.
Nintendo will always have a new Mario game or 12 ready to go in no time at all each and every year. Though if you're a truly refined Mario connoisseur, you'll know there's a great distinction between Mario spin-offs and mainline Mario platforming titles. The previous two Nintendo generations were each relatively tame in their mainline Mario escapades, relying heavily on nostalgia and recycled ideas for the 2D titles and simple course-clear design philosophies for the 3D ones. The current Switch era, however, has made some decidedly more innovative decisions in the way the 3D games are made. Odyssey expanded Mario's moveset with Cappy and gave him open sandbox worlds to explore that were totally conceptually fresh for the franchise. Bowser's Fury, while short and built off the bones of 3D World, still gave the familiar 3D Mario play experience a new open-world progression system. That just feels so perfect for Mario, it's hard to imagine him going back to Sunshine and 64's boot you out system. Now as for the 2D games in the Switch era, I guess they haven't made any original mainline 2D games on the Switch yet. Weird.
Obviously, Nintendo isn't going to stop making new mainline 2D Mario games. That's like saying Coca-Cola will stop making horrible new flavors. Who asked for this? But I guess the real question now isn't so much when will Nintendo do a new 2D Mario, but how will Nintendo do a new 2D Mario?
I've heard some folks online say that perhaps Nintendo made the Mario Maker games so robust that they flat out replaced mainline 2D ones. But I can't say I agree. I get the notion behind the idea is, Mario Maker holds so much potential, any new 2D Mario game could simply be built within one, thus there's little point or value in continuing mainline 2D games. But to that I respond, what's to stop a new 2D Mario game from being mechanically distinct enough from games that came before it? Distinct enough to the point that it would be incapable of replicating in the current Mario Makers anyway.
I don't mean to suggest it'd be completely different from previous 2D Marios. Lord knows Nintendo would never sacrifice simplicity and nostalgia for something truly distinct. But it could provide something new in how it plays, how progression is handled, or both, and heck, maybe even more.
Myself, and many like me within the Nintendo community, love to lambaste the new Super Mario Bros. Games for being prime examples of Nintendo shamelessly regurgitating old ideas, and cite them as perfect examples of their hypocrisy in face of their lame excuses as to why they don't make new F-Zero or Star Fox games, for example. But even with that in mind, the last new game in the series, New Super Mario Bros. U, came out in 2012. It is a mere year away from qualifying for my neglected series criteria, which for those of you who don't know, is having gone a decade or longer without a new game and or having circumstances built around them such that they may never get a new entry like Chibi Robo or Codename Steam. Switch port notwithstanding, New Super Mario Bros. Is old.
Now that is irony.
They don't feel old because A, I myself am an old man, but also B, because they have very few ideas they can call their own. Can Nintendo really in good conscience make a new Super Mario Bros. Game all this time later, thinking they can get through by nostalgia pandering to people nostalgic for nostalgia pandering? Or will they do something fresh and new for the mainline 2D Mario games in order to grab people in the same way Odyssey did?
In all honesty, they could probably get away with either. No matter what Nintendo does or how low they stoop, a large portion of their install base will always buy whatever they release. And the Switch's install base is so large, their ego seems bigger than the ridiculous amount of money that they demand from ROM sites. But oops, I'm going off topic. Naturally, I'd prefer they do something new, fresh, and exciting with their next 2D Mario game. And I myself have got a pretty nifty concept in my head about what they could do for it. Not to toot my own horn, but it could be just what the series needs. So without further ado, let's get into it, Mama Luigi.
The title of this fresh new 2D Mario game I've got in my head? Super Mario and Friends. At its core, this would be a 2D Mario game not unlike the ones that came before it, in the sense that the story motivations are simple, the pacing is course-clear oriented, and it'd probably even retain the world map from the new Super games. What makes this game stand out from the rest, however, aside from hopefully a neat new art direction, would be its wide cast of playable characters. See, New Super Mario Bros. Wii and U introduced the concept of simultaneous multiplayer Mario, but every character played more or less the same with only slight deviations in run speed or jump height and other things like that. I propose for Super Mario and Friends, there be multiple storylines to choose from featuring different sets of distinct and unique playing characters at the get-go, and maybe their paths would even intertwine at points. There's Mario and Toad, who are off to rescue Princess Peach and Toadette from the clutches of Bowser, or maybe who we assume is Bowser, wink wink, nudge nudge. There's Peach and Toadette, who are off to escape from their captor and maybe find some important item with which to defeat them. There's Luigi and Professor Egad, who are investigating some paranormal new threat and are off to track it down. There's Wario and Waluigi, who would run into the other characters assuming that they're hunting treasure, so they try to head them off at the pass. There's, spoiler alert, Bowser and Kamek, or more likely Bowser Jr., but I'd prefer Kamek, who discover somebody beat him to the punch kidnapping the princess, thus they venture out to get her. And just for continuity's sake, the new villain messes up their airships and magic, thus they'd have to platform their way there, okay? There's Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong, who would probably be DLC, but they could also be implemented, I tells ya. I could go on and on and on, my friends. There are all sorts of Mario characters who hardly, if ever, get to join in on the mainline Mario adventures. And each and every one of them could offer some fresh and fun new gameplay opportunities, and I, for one, would be so happy to have them. I partner the characters up per separated storyline in my concept because, presumably, this new game would be on the Switch. Thus, two-player local multiplayer would be encouraged. I also thought about there being secrets or collectibles that would require co-op to get, but then I thought about how frustrating that would be for single-player playthroughs, so instead, I'd say handle it like OG Donkey Kong Country, where you can swap which character you control at any time. But don't tie them to your health or life count, that'd be frustrating.
I could go into the intricacies of every character's unique moveset, how their paths could cross throughout the duration of the game, or how it would all culminate by the end, but that's all stuff I'm sure you can probably imagine on your own if you're not doing it right now. And if you are doing it right now, doesn't it seem so cool?
So many questions could be popping up in your head like they have in mine. Would power-ups still be present? Maybe, why not? Would the characters have special items that offer new traversal options not available to other characters like Cappy, Poltergusts, or Minion Summons, and maybe more? Again, why not? Would the villain really be new? Or could it be a returning foe like Tatanga or Wart? Say it with me, why not? Does this all sound dangerously similar to the Sonic Adventure games? A little, yeah. But hey, regardless of how you feel about the Sonic Adventure game's approach to the whole multiple characters interconnected storyline shtick, the way I imagine the game in my head is more in line with Sonic 3 and Knuckles, but with more characters and level variety anyway. Not to mention Spyro 3 and Crash Bandicoot 4 seem to have gotten away with it just fine, so it's not like the concept is inherently flawed. Nintendo loves to bank on the universal recognizability of their #1 plumber, but perhaps they should think now more than ever at a time of unprecedented success about how many customers have become intimately familiar with the Mushroom Kingdom's wider ensemble. Even aside from that, Donkey Kong games sell well, Wario Land games once dominated their handheld systems, Yoshi may not have found the same amount of success he did back on the SNES, but his adventures still hold potential and have gotten critical acclaim. Sometimes. Princess Peach and Captain Toad got their own games once upon a time. And did I mention how huge of a seller Luigi's Mansion 3 was?
I guess what I'm trying to say with all this is, games with the word Mario on the cover have a massive built-in audience. But Nintendo might just find that leveraging that in tandem with Mario's friends getting shared billing might attract players who normally only show up for kart racing or supporting character-led offshoots. But now that I mention it, I have so many ideas for other Mario spin-offs that I should definitely make videos on soon. Like, how has there not been a 3D Yoshi game yet? The character's like 30 years old, for crying out loud. But anywho, that's my idea for what the next 2D Mario game should be. I would love to hear your ideas for a new 2D Mario in the comments. And while I'm asking, what Mario character deserves their own game? And just one more question for the comments. Do you prefer 2D Mario or Pikmin? The answer shouldn't shock me, but hey, if you like Pikmin more, I'm giving you a promotion. And by promotion, I mean like a heart on your comment, probably. Thank you for watching, and please enjoy the end slate. My arm hurts. Ah!
If you've enjoyed this video, please leave it a like and share it around on social media if you feel so inclined. Subscribe to my channel too if you haven't already for more videos like this, and follow the links in the description to find more ways of supporting my channel. The most effective of which being pledging to my Patreon page, where for as little as $1 a month, you get behind the scenes updates and a credit at the end of my videos like you see here. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you the next time I see you. Also, Bowser needs his own game.